His first major move as Queensland Premier, David Crisafulli's government will introduce new legislation this week to combat youth crime. The landmark bill will include a policy of adult crime, adult time, which will see harsher penalties for juvenile offenders. But after laying his career on the line over this issue during the election, can the new leader deliver on his promise? For more, Queensland Premier David Crisafulli joins us now live in Brisbane. Well, are you confident you're going to get this through?
Good morning, Matt. I am, because we made a promise to Queenslanders, and I believe that if you say one thing on one side of the election, you've got to do it on the other. So we said that adult crime, adult time, that making Queensland safer laws would be laws by Christmas, and that's what we're going to do. That bill will be tabled in Parliament on Thursday and it will pass in the second sitting. It's that important. We can't go to Christmas with the same broken youth justice laws that we've got in Queensland. They were weakened a decade ago. That's created a generation of hardcore repeat young offenders. They know that their rights are greater than the rights of the victim. We've got to do something about it, and we are.
So your Labor opposition has accused you of cherry-picking the crime stats to suit your agenda. It sounds like they're going to put a bit of resistance on this.
And that's deeply disappointing, because what we revealed yesterday is they knew how bad the problem was. They had figures which shows year on year youth crime has escalated year on year, including in the last year, and yet they were telling Queenslanders things were getting better. Well, Queenslanders were living through it and they voted for change. I'm going to park what they have to say about it, because they created the problem 10 years ago. What Queenslanders want from me is an acknowledgement of the failures, but then a roadmap to the future, and we're giving that. And what adult crime, adult time does is sends a signal that there are consequences for actions. Now, I'm not going to walk away that we also need to do early intervention to a gold level standard. We've got to have rehabilitation when a young person is in jail and when they're released. All of those things aren't happening at the moment, but one way or another, there's got to be less victim numbers. Now, no one suggests that there's never going to be crime. Of course there's going to be crime in any state, but it's the number of victims that matter. And my focus is on driving down those victims. It's stronger laws, gold standard early intervention, and rehabilitation when a young person does go off the rails. Yeah, there's so many elements to it, isn't there? So when are we going to see crime rates come down, or when are we going to see this particular policy have an impact? Well, I said that we've got to have fewer victim numbers by the end of this term, and I was pretty upfront about that. And I think Queenslanders voted for change because rather than a culture of ifs and buts and, oh, maybe this, maybe that, I've put it on the line. There has to be fewer victims of crime. And youth crime is the one that's in people's minds, because they're living it every day. They're seeing these young thugs ramming police cars. They're seeing them holding a knife to people's throats at their home, and it's got to stop. And the way to do that is by consequences for actions. Let's deal with those hardcore repeat offenders, and let's get in early before the next generation comes through. Yeah, Queenslanders begging for change. Really interesting story that we're running today. A police gun being stolen out of an unmarked police car in Townsville. One, how does that happen, and how concerning is that? It's very concerning, Matt, and I've sought a briefing from the Police Commissioner, which I'll be getting shortly. No doubt about it, we have to get to the bottom of it. The first priority is let's deal with the situation. I understand the alleged offenders and the weapons are still at large. So first and foremost, let's get them off the streets, and then we'll deal with that issue and make sure that, that we get to the bottom of the situation. Yeah, maybe they need to secure them better. Quick one on the Olympics before I let you go. So 2032, no, it's not around the corner, but it's getting closer, isn't it? In terms of defining a moment for Queensland and the legacy that it leaves behind, a lot of people talking about the opening ceremony and who's going to feature in that as, you know, Queensland produces the likes of Keith Urban, Chris Hemsworth could be involved, Bluey, of course, we know. Anyone at this stage that could take the stage for the opening ceremony in 2032? Well, Matt, first our priority is dealing with the infrastructure. But look, if we're going to get ahead of ourselves, there's no more quintessential Queenslander and Queensland band than Powderfinger. So, JC and Bernard, if you're watching this morning, come on, one more time. Let's get the band back together. Well, there you go. You heard it here first. David Crisafulli, thanks for joining us. Premier of Queensland and Powderfinger. I hope you guys heard that one too. Here's Nat.